Hi everyone, this is Penguin Trades. I'm trading the ES and the NQ. This is a review. We're going to start off with the ES here. So this is our overnight high up here, our overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here, just as we were forming this swing. And so we have this push down, then we suddenly have a push up that forms our overnight low swing. Now, when we push up here, again, we just now formed the overnight low, which is a major key level. So we want to see a good reversal pattern. If we push up here, let me just draw out an example. If we push up and get a couple legs back down, this forms a failed second entry. So as you can see from here, starting from the low, we have first entry short, second entry short, failure. This is what you'd want to see because one, it's the failed second entry, but on the other side of the count, it's confluent with this downtrend right here because it's downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, failure. And so you can look, so the downtrend, you can expect it to play out after the break. And so if you get 2 attempts at a new low, then that's where you look for the failure entry. So you'd be able to look for a long. Second entries, they occur all over the chart. They don't happen out of nowhere. They happen because price attempts to reach magnets. It attempts to break out of things. It attempts new lows after trend breaks, new highs for uptrends. And so this is how second entries form. Basically everything happens in moves of twos, retests, EMA, when the price is getting attracted to the EMA, when price is getting attracted to a magnet, when it's breaking out of a range. It attempts things in pairs of 2. That's just how the chart works. It's based on human psychology. And so basically, if you got this right here, you'd be able to look for a long, but we just don't get a good setup for it. Price attempts to do it, as you can see, after we push up here and then we get this break from the trend, you have these 2 little legs down here. Now, overall, this is one leg on a bigger picture. I would like to see another leg of this entire size. So I don't view this right here, these 2 legs down, as a clear 2 attempts at a new low for this downtrend here. It's just 2 small pictures, so no long there for me. I would have wanted to see, again, another leg equal to the total size of that move down. That way it'd be a very clear reversal pattern. So first entry short, second entry short, and then look for the failure entry down there. But it just doesn't happen. So after the break, price pushes up to a new high. So now we have downtrend on the break. This obviously, the break forms an uptrend, which is now played out, and so now price is making a new low on a bigger picture. So downtrend, break, price pushing down to a new low on a bigger picture. This is a great place to look for a failed second entry holding under the EMA. So if we push lower here, get a couple legs back, then we could easily find a short because that would be a reversal pattern. While expect a reversal from this push up here because again the uptrend just played out, so we can expect price to reverse back down in order to make a new low for the downtrend. So that's what I would be looking for here, and unfortunately we just didn't get that. So anyway, it just continued on down without us. So we push on lower here, suddenly we get a bounce back up, and so then we push above the EMA, price starts pushing back below immediately. And so what we have here is downtrend, break, and then first attempt lower. This whole leg is the first attempt, and then this is the second attempt. Now, this right here, we didn't have anything really clear. We can start with this channel right here. Draw a line from this low off that swing, and then it's holding right here. But we have to consider that when price started pushing up here, it was struggling to get through the EMA. It's becoming sideways, and even though you have these 2 attempts at a new low, this second attempt isn't very big compared to this first attempt lower, and so it could easily just push down and reach the overnight low, especially because it's struggling to get back above. So this was not a trade that I liked right here for a long. It was just getting really sideways overall. The downtrend still hadn't played out yet, and I would want to see something more bullish at this point. Again, we had that bullish push up, but then we had an almost equal bearish push back down, and then a rejection to the EMA, and then it's getting pretty sideways at that point, so I didn't like entering there. But it does end up pushing on up pretty strong here. And now, as you can see, we have these 2 legs up right here. So I'm going to delete that just so I can copy and show that these are measured legs right here. And so, let me get that right. Perfect, really quick. So we have these 2 legs up right here. Measured move is met. as soon as it's met, price immediately starts pushing down, and then we form this reversal pattern. It's not super clear, it is pretty choppy, but let me just zoom in and go over that. So after price reaches the measured move, which as you're starting to push up right here and you have the measured move in play, you do want to look for a long on the way up. But this right here is just too choppy. It's not a two clear legs down on the EMA. It's just sideways moving over to the EMA. So really nothing there. And then after the measured move is met, we push on lower here. We want to see a failed second entry. But we don't quite get a clear one. It still is valid, but what we get is first entry long, second entry long, failure, but it's really messy within this chop right here, so you have to be careful how you enter. So you see here on this red bar, after it triggers and pushes below, now I believe that this looks good enough to make a second leg down, especially because we're coming off of this major measured move which had a very bearish reaction right as it was met. And so you just need to enter with a limit order. You don't want to push it too far out of this chop right here. Like I wouldn't want to enter all the way below that bar, having to push the target out that far. But if we go in with a limit order, then we don't have to push it out so far. And so how it was price triggered below this bar right here, which let me fix the stop, it got out of place. So price triggers below this bar right here, the signal bar, pushes lower, go in with a limit order, that way you don't have to enter down there, and then price fills down here. It did go back pretty far, which no one likes to have the price go back that far to their stop, but sometimes that's what you got to deal with when you're trading. When it's choppy, it's higher risk of stuff like that happening, but it ends up plummeting on down because again, this right here is a major measured move. It's stronger than this little range right here. So that's why I like that trade there. We push on lower here. Now we have these two legs down. Measured move is met, and as soon as that measured move is met, price immediately starts pushing up. It's also off of this trend line right here. Now, we do have to consider this downtrend right here. So, sorry, I'm going to pause the video for 1 sec. I'm getting a call, sorry. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had a sudden interruption. I had to pause the video for a minute or so. So, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so this right here, we have this downtrend that is clearly in play, even though you have two legs down here. On a bigger picture, this is just one trend. And so we get the break. Unfortunately, I don't want to enter right there, even though it's right off of this key entry point, even though this measured move is met. We did also just have a very sharp, push down after this major measured move was met. So basically, this whole leg is the second leg down from this leg. So it's downtrend, two-legged break, and then attempt to a new low, which is basically making the second leg. So first leg down, two-legged break, second leg down. And so that's why I don't want to enter long right here. I want to wait for, a couple attempts down. So like a push up, a couple legs down. That way this downtrend plays out with two attempts at a new low. So if we had gotten a good failed second entry reversal pattern, then we could have gotten something. But unfortunately, it just doesn't happen. And so anyway, we push on up right here. We continue higher. We blast through that measured move, which, by the way, I have this marked right here. I actually did not take this. I marked it because I wanted to see a visual for it, but I actually did not take that, so I don't mean to confuse anybody. So anyway, we push on up right here. We go through that measured move. We get a break. So now downtrend, break. We can expect price to attempt a new high. However, we did also just come off the high of a channel. So that's two competing things. When an uptrend gets a break, you can expect price to attempt a new high. But when you come off the highs of a channel, you can expect price to return to the other side of the channel. So when we push lower here, what I would like to see is a clear failed second entry. If we push below, get two clear legs up, that would include the two attempts at a new high for this uptrend, making it play out. And then on the other side of the count, of course, we'd have our failed second entry. And so that's what we get right here. It just takes a while to form. At first, it's a little bit choppy, or very choppy. But eventually, we get this push down and then two legs back up. So from this side of the count, we have first entry long, second entry long, failure. And on the other side of the count, we have uptrend, break, first attempt at a new high, second attempt at a new high, failure. So we'd be able to get in on this failed second entry right here if it offered a good bar to enter on. It didn't, unfortunately. It's all closing within this channel right here, pushing above the EMA, and then it just plummets down out of nowhere. And if this bar, this bearish bar, had closed down here and left us, some room to get in, then that would have been great. But it just decided to plummet on down and make the second leg down. And again, another perfect measured move met. And so, anyway, it got pretty choppy after it reached that channel low right there. Started going sideways, and then it just took on off and pushed back above. Now, I don't like going long here. It's clearly going into this range right here, and it's not off of any support. It is off of that measured move level, but I wouldn't take it based just off of that, considering it's just completely sideways right there. So that's not an ideal long. Now, at this exact area, there was a good trade on the NQ. That's why I had this marked at first, because I wanted to see just what it looked like on this chart, the visual. But it wasn't good on the ES because it wasn't off of the key entry point. It just was off of this right here, and it was chopping. You didn't get a clear entry. It was a little different on the NQ, which I'm going to hop over to that just for a second. So on the NQ, it was right off the key entry point. Starting from this low, you drag it off the second swing. It bounced off there, had the third swing. The highs fit well, and again, perfect measured move met. Good reaction, push right above. This is a limit order trade, by the way. And so it was filled swiftly after triggering this green bar, so it just ticked higher, and then it filled on this red bar. So I really liked it on the NQ, but it just didn't set up as good on the ES. Again, it's not even off the key entry point on the ES. It had already broken. Now, when you break a channel and then it forms a new swing, you can look to extend the channel just to see how it ends up holding. But you can't just immediately lower it in the moment because it hasn't formed a swing yet. So, it's not like you can take it like that. So anyway, that's why I didn't like it on the ES, but I did like it on the NQ. And so anyway, we continue on up here. Again, pushing on in, returning inside of the channel. This is a good place to get a failed second entry. Push up, a couple legs back. It just doesn't happen. And so when we do push above, though, again, we form a swing. We can look to extend this channel. The highs are still fitting pretty well. And then when we push up here, we get this higher low off the EMA. And I don't know if you noticed, but it was also testing that where the channel just was. Now, this isn't a clear failed second entry, but it is a good looking higher low. I did miss this trade in the moment. This was just before noon. And so I did miss this, but this does look like a decent higher low because we just came off of this major measured move. Or no, I don't want to say major, but it's a perfect measured move. As soon as it was met, it just immediately reversed off of it. Very strong bullish. We get a higher low off the EMA, off the channel. That looks like a good higher low for 1-to-1. So anyway, we push on up here. Again, we can look to extend the channel, but I'll just leave it here for now. We push on up. I would like to see two bigger legs back, because at this point, even after this trade right here, it pushes up, we can still get a couple legs back, forming a bigger picture failed second entry. But it just doesn't happen. So anyway, we continue higher here. We push up to the overnight high. We break on out. Now, you don't immediately want to buy the breakout just because you're getting a bullish bar pushing out. You want to wait for 2 attempts to fade before buying the breakout. And so we push on up. We get this push down here. We get a second push down. Really, that's just going sideways. This is the real first push out of this area. So we have this two-legged move down. It's fading back in. So as far as buying the breakout at this point, you can't. It's already faded back in. But what I'd like to see is if price could push a little bit lower and then offer 2 clear legs up, retesting the overnight high, that could offer a great short for us. Because, let me just draw this all out here. Sorry, my nose is kind of going wild today. So we push on down. If we can get a couple legs back, making this first entry long, second entry long, failure, and then we can look to get a short off of the overnight high. And so we would just need room to this low right here of this channel, which obviously we have plenty, but I do want to just mention, if you have an uptrend, you can take a short if it's good. If you're coming off the overnight high and with a reversal pattern and you're in an uptrend, it's still fine to take a short, but you do need room to the other side. So clearly there would be plenty of room. Maybe this could happen. We could get something similar maybe. But Yeah, and I also want to address, of course, this overshoot. So overshoots lead to breaks, so it's not surprising we had a sharp push back down right after and then unable to retest off the highs because of the overshoot. So there's that. I'm going to pause the video for 1 second. I got to just deal with my nose issues before I go over the NQ, so I'll be back in 1 sec. Alright, I'm back. So sorry about that. I wish I could edit these parts out, but I don't edit my videos, so whatever. Anyway, I'm going to hop over to the NQ now. That's all for the ES. So again, overnight high up here, overnight lows down here. I started trading at 8 Central Time, this area right here. And so we start pushing up here. And at first, it looks very similar to the ES. You know, after this downtrend gets a break, you know, it just continues on up. We can expect price to attempt a new low. And so what we'd like to see is a reversal pattern, a push on up, a couple legs back, a failed second entry, but we just don't get a clear one. You know, after this push up here, we get a break, and then price immediately pushes to a new high, and then we just get these two sharp legs down, which what they are is the bigger picture attempts at a new low for this downtrend. So at first it looks very similar to the ES. You know, again, I didn't see any good trades in this area that I liked. At this point here, after we have the first push at a new low, so downtrend, break, first attempt lower, we can look for a short to get in on the second attempt lower, but it just doesn't set up anything clear. It gets very choppy and sideways very quickly. And then, you know, entering down here is just too low, especially for how not clear this whole area was. It's literally going sideways here. And so anyway, it does make a second leg down. So now the downtrend has a break and two clear attempts at a new low, measured move, and then as soon as that measured move is met, price instantly reverses. And so when we push up here, you know, again, this is another place you can get a failed second entry. Ideally, you'd get a failed second entry here. You could get a good looking higher low if it sets up. This does not look like a good higher low. This is just all basically part of the same move up. No, there's not a clear separation of the break. I would want to see a much clearer break, not just spike up, small break, and then a higher low, basically pushing up to the very high of the move. You don't want to enter at the high of the move. You want to enter on a pullback. Ideally, again, a two-legged pullback making a failed second entry from this low. But it doesn't happen, so we push on up. Now we have these two legs up right here. So measured move is met. As soon as it's met, price immediately starts pushing down, reversing. This is a great place to look for a failed second entry. But unlike on the ES, we just don't get one here. You know, right here, technically, to the tick, you have the first entry long, second entry long, failure. But obviously, this is not a clear setup at all. Like, I'm going to hop back to the ES for a second. On the ES, starting from here, it's first entry long, second entry long, failure. You can see the separation of the legs, and then you have, you know, you have to push it through a little bit, but you basically have room. You know, it's not like you're entering at the low of this move. You have a two-legged move down, and then you're entering at the low of it. That's not good for a reversal pattern. Here, you have the push down, a couple legs back, so it's much more clear. Nothing here for a short. We push on lower here, we go into this downtrend, and then price breaks, and then just immediately spikes up and pushes out to the previous measured move level. A little bit of resistance, but ultimately it just pushes on down. And then just to show this channel right here, we have these lows, and then these highs are fitting up here. After it pushes lower, that's when this channel becomes more clear because these highs are fitting and these lows. And so we push on lower here, downtrend, break, push to a new low. Unfortunately, there's not a clear short on the way down. I don't like this higher low right here, even though you can see it's retesting that previous measured move level, but it's still closed within this uptrend right here. It's not good. It's not below the EMA. Really not a good looking higher low. And so anyway, we push on lower though, two legs down. The measured move is met at this point. And so this also, you know, the two legs down here are a lot more clean than on the ES. On the ES, or actually, that's so funny. I actually just had a brain freeze for a second there. I was viewing these two legs down as from this part on the ES, so that was just a minor brain freeze there. So anyway, we push on down here with these two legs. The measured move is met. This time, we're off the key entry point as the measured move is met, unlike on the ES, where price had just pushed on through the trend line and then it wasn't off of anything. Here, we're off of the key entry point, good reaction to it pushing up, right off that measured move, great place to look for a long. I liked it just with this, you know, we push up here, and then we got filled with a limit order after price triggered above this green bar. So I really like this trade here. Push on up, and it really just, after it filled up here and then it just went up a bit, it just took off. This happened pretty damn fast. And so we took off here, we overshot this channel, we push out the overnight high, and now this is a great place to get a failed second entry. Looks like, we're already, there's a little reversal that happened here. We pushed on down, couple small legs back, and then we just now got a huge plummet, spike down with this couple bars here. And so anyway, that's going to do it for this video. What I'd like to see from here is, if we push down, we can get a big failed second entry. I didn't mean to move that. There we go. So we could get something like this. First entry long, second entry long, failure. It's good context for it, considering we're coming off the overnight high. We're just now pushing back into this channel right here. Overshoots lead to breaks, so it's common to get, a reversal after an overshoot because you can expect price to reverse back down. Very commonly, you'll get failed second entries after sharp moves like this. So we'll see what happens. We could easily just get in on that second leg down. So, excuse me. That's going to do it for this video. My nose is running crazy, so I'm going to end it here. And thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.